criminal justice system, some threats can't be seen, only sensed. On the front lines are canine handlers and their dogs. One trained by discipline, the other driven by instinct. Together they search, track, and take down those who run. This is their training.
As the handlers begin winding down the training of the basic K9 school, their lessons become even more patrol-focused and more challenging for their canine partners.
All these guys coming in had a really good understanding of what it meant to be a police officer, and they did a really good job of being a police officer. This is 16 weeks of learning how to be a special kind of police officer and how to use a very special piece of equipment. A piece of equipment that has its own thoughts and mind and abilities and desires, and learning to utilize that piece of equipment appropriately and safely. It's always more than what most people think it's going to be.
With the handlers getting ready for the real thing, the tracks are now including something the canines will see when they hit the streets: a suspect. The human element creates an entirely different experience for the handlers and their partners, as they both get the look and feel of what they'll see out in the field.
Please, K9, if you're in these woods, make yourself known. My dog will find you, he will bite you. Let me see your hands. Please, show your hands. Show your hands. Show your hands, you're gonna get bit!
K9 was always one of those positions that I knew I would probably be the most productive and happiest in. And I mean, you spend 30 years doing this career, it's important, because this career is rough. I mean, most of the time you're going to calls, you're being called to someone's worst day. So it's mentally, emotionally, physically draining. But setting goals, moving to K9 and being able to come in and be excited about your job, that's a big part for me. And yeah, it was definitely, it's been a goal.
So very good tracking behavior here. He's still working it. He's not goofing off.
Yeah.
But he just missed a turn. But he's not goofing off. He's still working. He didn't goof off at all on that track.
Yeah.
And then that happened. A little bit of breeze, right? And he said, he's looking, he's searching, he's doing his job. He's trying to find this track.
Yeah.
He goes, and tracking is done, right? Never getting tracking back, right?
Yeah.
And now it's, now he starts bragging. Now he's doing what's more genetically predisposed to him, right? This is how he wants to find things, right? And as we continue, this will be a battle you'll fight with this dog forever, because that's way easier than tracking.
We were just joking amongst ourselves. You know, Sergeant Leggett was having to teach us, you know, the first few weeks on how to specifically cut a hot dog, and to the normal person that sounds as basic as it gets, you know, but there's a rhyme or reason to everything, and all the training we went through, and the reason it's set up the way it is. So yeah, it's awesome to look back and reflect on, you know, how far we've came. But like I said, the grind never stops. Keep working from here. Sarge told us the whole school, like, you're gonna have, it's gonna be a roller coaster, and don't compare you as a handler or the dogs to, my counterparts going through the school as well, because what you might do really well or what your dog might do really well one day compared to other dogs, like you show up the next day and you're like, man, what happened, but therein lies, kind of the, you got to keep grinding, you got to stay consistent. That's a big thing with our dogs as well. So, yeah, like I said, putting it all together, like at the end of the school, it's awesome to see. But just staying consistent and training hard, we'll get to where we want to go.
It's always pleasantly surprising when your dog goes out and finds that first person or finds that first gun, and you're like, oh my God, this really works. Because you've done it in training and you've seen your dog be successful in training, but to see it actually happen in the real world and in real life situations, it's really cool and it's really humbling. They're like, wow, this really works. And also to show up on scenes and everybody's looking at you, and I mean, most of these guys don't know you're new. They just know you're a canine handler, and they know what the standard is, and they're going to hold you to that standard. And that can be a lot of pressure sometimes for new folks, but our new guys have done really well adapting to that.
Last couple of weeks K9 school were, they were tough. A lot of it was very real world scenario based. So that was probably the closest we came to actual live calls for service that you could get, at least in training, and being able to see how my dog is reacting in those situations and how I'm able to cope with his reaction was it was really cool, especially going into being back on the street. Probably like week 9 or 10, at least I did. I felt like, man, we are super behind. We're not even on, building searches or bite work or anything like that. And then come the final 2 weeks when we're putting all that stuff together, doing unknown tracks for 200-300 yards and locating a suspect at the end of the track, being able to see all that hard work be put together it's been great. I think probably like the last month I was like, we're ready, we can do this, we're gonna do this.
Being the live suspect has consequences, but with these new firearms detection canines, finding guns is a huge part of the job.
Whole idea of having a dog that's specifically trained in target odors for guns, that's a new concept, at least in this department. We've only had gun dogs for about a year. So being able to see how they actually imprint on the odors and being able to see Luffy actually find guns in real life it's been crazy. They're finding guns in places that, officers never would have found them if the dog wasn't there. So being able to see that in real world is very cool.
We can't prepare the handler and the dog for every possible situation they're going to encounter. We just try to generalize these things as best we can. So when they do have these very unique experiences that are like, man, I never thought that would happen. And I can't tell you how many times I've said that, and seen that pop up later in one of our handlers' deployments. But we try to prepare these dogs to be successful in the very wide variety of things they're going to encounter. And so it's almost hard to answer that question now. Like we've done we try to not say any major differences, but just how we do things a little. We just make little tweaks here and there. But it's really hard to tell if we tweaked in the right direction until we see a few months down the road we get some more deployments under our belt and see how the dogs perform. But as of right now, I'm very happy with what we're seeing.
Good boy. Good job, Cam. Good job, buddy. Good boy.
Man, his ball. It's just, we call that their paycheck, and every dog's different, but it seems like most of our dogs, are obsessed with their toys and the ball specifically. So that's Cam's big paycheck for sure. So as long as he's got that ball, he's happy. There's a long way to go between me and him with training, but I feel like he's pretty well-rounded. He's a rock star when it comes to his odor work. The firearm detection stuff is great. Seems like his tracking behavior has been awesome as well. He's a very intense dog, so when he's in odor and he's tracking, like he's tracking, that's, for me to be able to read his behavior and determine whether or not he's in odor, he's out of odor, stuff like that. But I would say overall, probably his odor work is definitely the best for the firearm detection stuff.
As you've seen before, apprehension is another large part of what these canines will be asked to do. And that is why the trainer spends so much time on tracking and the finer points of finding and making an arrest in the field.
So it was essentially a 43 that officers lost. You were conducting your routine patrol in the area. You located the suspect vehicle. You pull up on it and you see the suspect run away from the vehicle. So basically what we would have to do is get the dog get out of the car, make our canine challenges. Hey, don't run, I'll send my dog, you're gonna get bit. Get our dog out, make sure our dog is target locked on the suspect, make sure there's no external factors that are gonna distract him or possibly get other people injured or anything like that, and then send the dog for the apprehension.
Show me your hands! I didn't get him! Oh! Woo! Oh! Oh! Out! Get on the ground, get on the ground. Watch him, watch him, watch him. All right, put him up, good job. Stomach. Start walking. Be suspicious.
I've never trained a dog, I guess, per se from scratch. The dogs I'd handled prior were already imprinted on a lot of things like their obedience bite work, and it was more just kind of marrying us together and going through a little bit shorter school to make sure that we understood each other, understood, the commands and working together and certifying as a team. But to watch, a completely green dog and help in training him from, completely not knowing anything. That's the first time in my career I've ever done that. So that was really, really, I think it gives a better understanding to the handler of the amount of work that goes into this, and how much progress you can make in a very quick amount of time. First couple weeks, they're handling the dogs. So you're looking at them and, the main trainers are handling the dogs and they're kind of showing you what you need to do. They're kind of imprinting them. You're watching and you're thinking like, oh man, this is, these dogs are doing great. They're learning. And then at some point they hand you the dog and you start to do things and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it looks so easy, but it's not. So again, learning the learning curve for how to train these dogs is that was just where probably the most amount of my stress came from.
Stand by.
Stop running or I'll see my dog. Please, K9, don't Out!
Jump, put him up.
We're extremely lucky and fortunate here at CMPD to be able to have the ability to do that with our own folks and our own dogs, and we feel like for us we get the best product by doing that. Again, not taking anything away from anyone who does things differently. It's just the way we like to do it, and again, we feel like we get the best product that way, and we're really happy with what we have on the road right now.
I'm super proud. For me, this has been a huge career goal. I've been trying to get here for a very long time, so being able to just get to this point has been hugely humbling. I'm grateful for the experience, but right now I'm ready to get back on the work. I think, you know, Luffy, Lucky, and Cam, they're all great dogs, and I think they're all going to help protect a lot of people, keep officers safe, and I think they're going to catch a lot of bad guys in their time here.
They're going to continue to grow and learn, but we have to be realistic in what our expectations are, that we're not going to get the same level of understanding and skill and ability like we will a senior handler with a senior dog. Like, I promise you, all these teams will look back a year from now and they're going to be so far beyond what they are at this point. And hopefully that process continues throughout their career as handlers, and that career of the dog. They're right where they need to be. They have that basic understanding from out of basic K9 school. They've been on the road now and they've performed the job they're supposed to be performing. There's things that have come up that have been good learning experiences for the dog and for the handler, and those things will continue to happen. And we'll constantly look at those and evaluate and continue to grow.
With the close of this phase of training, CMPD's newest K9 partners are hitting the street and using all they've learned to keep the community safe. Now they'll start their patrol careers. So how did the first few weeks of patrolling go? Check back on our YouTube channel to find out.